going to start talking on this side of the room for a change. How's that? Thank you. What a great opportunity to be here at the DaVinci group. I've been to a few sessions here, and Anita invited me. And Anita and I are sort of pseudo-perfect skiing companions. We always talk about skiing when we get on the phone, and we've never gone skiing together. We keep talking about it like we should. But just 3 weeks ago, I was at a basin. I don't know, do we have any skiers in here? Snowboarders? Great. So you've probably been to Arapahoe Basin where they have that big cornice on the top of the ridge when you get off the lift. And you look down, it's like about a 15-foot drop. At least that's what it looks like when you're standing on top of it. Well, I've skied down to this place, and I look off this little cliff here. And my 9-year-old, he's standing here right next to me, and we're both going to go off this little cornice. And we just keep looking, picking our line, taking our time, and all of a sudden, these 5 snowboarders come swooshing around the back of us, and they go flying off this cornice. It must have been like a 45-foot jump these guys did. And the last guy comes down, I saw him come down, he goes, "Just launch it, dude!" Right off the edge. So I thought, what a perfect fitting title for the presentation today, Just Launch It. We come up with these ideas over and over and over again. How many of you have had an idea for a business? How many of you have had 5 ideas for a business? All right, 10, 50, 100. The number goes on and on and on. And what do we really want? This is what we want. We want the big fish. All we want is one great idea that's going to make us $1 million. Well, this is our agenda today. We're going to talk about the product launch process. We're going to talk about web design strategies that sell, upselling, affiliate programs, broadcast email, search tools, content tips, testing, traffic methods, domain names, social networking, free advertising, blogging, SEO, paid advertising, article submission, press releases, pay-per-click, statistics tracking, starting your own affiliate program, and joint venturing. And by the time you walk out of here, this is how you're going to look like when you go home. I mean, is this really what we want? Is this really what we want to do with our time? Is to absorb ourselves and come to these seminars and workshops that we get so inundated with so much information that we just get scared. Like Anita, I still do. I go to conferences all over the country. I spend probably about $20,000 a year on continuing education of myself. I'm going to the biggest internet marketing conference in the world next week. It's called The Big Seminar. 4 happy days of 600 people in the room talking about everything on those 3 pages of lists that I just talked to you about. And I go to all these things so that my clients don't have to. So I come back with all the sales pitches and 4 hours and networking and all that kind of stuff. And I break all this information down into little components. And that's what I'm going to be presenting to you today. I'm going to be talking about some things that are new in the internet. I'm going to be talking about some things that have been around for a while, what works, what doesn't. My mom asked me when I was in college, just about ready to graduate, 1989. She said, "Marty, so what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do for your career?" And I said, well, I know I don't want to do 3 things. I don't want to be a traveling salesman like my father. He would leave on Sunday and come home Saturday every week. I knew I didn't want to be an accountant because accounting was just not my thing. And I also knew that I didn't want to be associated with computers. Because in high school, I took a programming class, basic programming. And a lot of you probably took a programming class like that or an introduction to computers, and there's always that one guy that followed the process absolutely correct every time, but he could never, ever get his project to print. That was me. The teacher was beside himself. Why can't you figure this out, Marty? Everybody's waiting for you. That was me. So I got kind of turned off. In 1991, I found myself selling accounting software. The writing was on the wall. So I started looking inside myself to find a niche area that I was passionate about that I could start to build a business. And I call myself a closet guitar player, meaning when I play guitar, my wife takes our 2 kids and they leave the house for about 3 hours. But I still like to get together with bass players and drummers and just jam. So one day when I was at work, I was trying to figure out how could I find other people to jam with. So I took a little ad out in the Westward, in the classified ads. I think it was about $15 or something. And I had a little ad in there that said, musicians wanted, looking for casual jams. And within the first week, I got, probably 15 calls from people. One of them wanted to get together for casual jams. The rest of them wanted me to tour the country with them, join their band, tour the country. I got a couple of calls from parents looking to see if I'd teach their kid how to play guitar. I'm not that good. You don't want me to teach your kid how to play guitar. But I got all these interesting phone calls, and I wrote down their phone number, and I took their profile, what they were interested in, and I just left the ad in there for a month because I didn't find what I was looking for. And by the end of the month, I had about 75 little profiles of all these musicians and bands looking for each other. And I thought, gosh, there's nothing like this other than the Westward. So I just put all this into a database, and I started selling my list. This is all offline. This was 1995. There wasn't a lot of internet back in 1995. In fact, one day, one of my participants came to me, somebody that bought the list, found a musician, and he said, Marty, you have to put this on the web. And I said, great. Well, what's that? I didn't know. He said, well, don't worry about it. I'll do it for you. I'll do everything. I said, great. You go do that. I'm not a technical person. I don't want to know anything about it. Classic mistake number one of 90% of the business owners that have websites. They don't want to be involved because they think it's technical. Number two is I had an interesting experience. Everything was going great. The company was growing. The website was growing. And I decided, if I work on this full time, I could actually make a livelihood out of this. So I quit my job. On the very day I was offered a promotion to National Accounts Manager, National Accounts Sales Manager. They gave me the offer, and I said, sorry, I'm pursuing my own business. It was a dream. It was a dream come true. But we wanted to own Colorado. So I took out a whole bunch of ads for this. And by the way, the website is called musicmates.com. And it's still there. It's still out there today. It's one of the nation's largest musician referral websites. And this is way before MySpace. Well, we took out these radio ads, spent a few $1,000s. This is out of my own pocket now. And we ran the ads to start on Friday night, when all the musicians are going out to the bands, right? And sure as the world, I made mistake number 2. Here's what happened. The ads started running, ran all night long. I wake up at 5:50 in the morning because I can't sleep. I want to see all those millions of dollars that I'm going to be making from the internet. I turn on my computer, access the internet, dial-up connection, mind you. My website was down. It gets worse. Not only was my website down, but I called my hosting company. My hosting company was gone. I found out about 3 months later that they pulled the plug on 2,200 websites. Just gone. Well, it gets worse. See, everything had been going pretty well with MusicMates for about 3 or 4 months or so. I didn't even need to talk to my designer anymore. Why? Everything's automated. We processed everything. Well, I called up my designer, and his phone was disconnected. He was gone. Turned out he took a contract job out in California for about 4 months, and he came back later, and he said, so how was MusicMates going? I was so no partner anymore for him. But the moral to that story is that I had lost control. I had lost complete control. I had no files. I didn't even know where my domain name was hosted. I had no images. I had no programming, no database, nothing. It was gone. And I had a choice. I could either go back to my job, or I could dig into my pocket again and go to New Horizons, that's where I went, and I learned how to design websites, programming websites, database stuff, secure transaction stuff. I learned enough to get me back online. That is very important to me. As we go through this, I want you to always be in control. When you work with designers, when you contract overseas to get a $10,000 job done for $50, like they always claim you can do, you need to be the one to be in control of your project. Okay? So that is our beginning of this session, my 30-second skinny.
Times 10. It's okay.
Exactly. This is the big question you need to ask yourself. What are you doing this for? Not only why. You need to ask the why, and trust me, just making money is not enough why. You have to have a burning desire to not let anything stop you on the web, because guaranteed you will have 50 bad attempts at something before you get one thing that goes right. And it's kind of like playing golf. You know, you're slicing and curving the ball all over the place, and then you hit one right down the middle. That's enough to keep you playing. You're incentivized then. It's the same thing with working on the internet. You need to ask your question if you are in this for the money, if you're in this for the fun, or if you really want to start a business. Now, I've been hanging out with all these guys that once you get into internet marketing, you hear the same names being thrown around the internet. Alex Mendozian, Armin Morin, Dave Taylor actually is becoming a pretty good name even beyond Colorado here. There are so many people that you will aspire to, that they will help you and mentor you. But I'll tell you, all those guys have a business. They all did the same thing that I did. We all left our corporate America job to make our own decisions, to be our own boss, to be the one person that does everything. You know, the problem with that is you wind up doing everything. And that's a big problem when you get into the web. Even now, I have a team of 7 people that work with me, and 4 of these guys I've worked with for years. And they all have their little component of what they're really, really good at. And there's only 2 of them that I let actually talk to clients. Because these are pretty techno people that you just kind of slide pizza under the door once in a while. You don't want them to have contact. So, but that's where we're going with this. You need to ask yourself, money, fun, or business? Now, I put something in the handout here. This is a really good little guide for you, this part 1 that I got from Armin Morin. And he suggested that you take your ideas and list them out on a big sheet of paper. I actually did this on an airplane one time, and I came up with 61. 61 ideas. And then I rated them based on this ranking by cost, by how hard is it to get your idea to fruition, how fast can you get your product or service launched off the ground, and what's your return on investment. If you rank all those ideas, you'll have a step-by-step guide. I kind of think about it like weightlifting. When I was in my younger years, I was really into weightlifting, and I always found it was a lot easier to accomplish a small goal. If I wanted to lift 100 pounds one day, and then next week I wanted to get up to 102 or 104, I didn't have my sights focused on the 350 pounds. That was just way too far out there. But if you rank these, you'll be able to say, okay, next week I'm going to do this idea, the next week after that, next week after that, next week after that. And you'll have your whole course for 2008 plotted. So, when you get to the point of looking at your products, this is a checklist that I've prepared for you. I need to be real careful about this. This is one of the most exciting topics I've ever had the opportunity to cover, because it is a process. Coming up with a product, which Nita covered, launching that product, seeing it grow, seeing it double, seeing sales triple and quadruple, and then having people attracting themselves to you to see if they can sell your product for you. Now that's an exciting topic, huh? It's a process. It's definitely a process. So we're going to take you through that process. And the first thing is you need to figure out what your primary goal is for your product. What are emotional reasons? In this handout, now the reason you're coming up with this is basic copywriting. When it gets time to put your website together, you have to have these questions answered. And you work with design, right? You're a designer? Yeah. Talk to this guy. Ask him what people bring him for information. I'll bet you the number one challenge that he has in this business is getting content from his customers. This is your key to content right here. So you need to ask yourself, what is the primary goal or benefit of my product? And number two, what are the top 3 emotional reasons that someone might be looking for your product or service? And the third one is provide at least 3 categories of problems your product or service solves. Now I've found in working with the web for, gosh, is it really 13 years? It's just insane how fast time flies. That every single product or service that I've ever worked with on the web, over 200 projects, always has at least 3 kinds of people that come to that website. If you can talk to each group of that 3, and prove to them that you have the answer to their problem, you're going to retain your visitors by 2/3, right? I mean, isn't that how it works? Because so many websites, they only target one group of person. So that's what I'm seeing out there. That's what's really working. If you go to HereNextYear.com, you'll see the first paragraph is just 3 links. I'm just dividing people out. Where are you in the internet process? Are you just starting a website? Do you have a website and it hasn't earned its keep? Or are you pretty familiar with some of this and you're just wanting to take things to the next level? Every time I get a phone call, it's one of those 3 categories. You need to identify those for yourself. Online sales opportunities. I made this more for me than for anything else, just because I want to make sure that we get through all these things I'm about to talk about. The online sales opportunities, this is a critical one. Are you planning on selling your product online, or selling your product? Are you planning on selling it online or offline? Or are you going to sell affiliate products? I'm so happy you brought up affiliates. That was awesome. It was an awesome introduction. I have a strange belief about affiliate programs. I think that every business owner should have at least 15 affiliate products in their arsenal. As you're going through this checklist and you see all these domain names that I have underlined and linked, I put those in there for a reason. Number one, because I'm in business. So if I give you a referral and you buy something from that referral, yeah, I'm going to get a kickback. Of course I am. That's just business. Not in it for fun. Not in it just for money. I'm in it because it's my business. So all these domain names that you see are pointing to affiliate links. And why does that happen? Because as you develop your business, people are going to start trusting you. They're going to trust you with the one thing that you offer them that they can't get anyplace else. And once you solve that problem, the next question they're going to say is, oh, can you help me with this problem too? Can you help me with this problem? Can you help me with this problem? Can you help me with this problem? I'm going to be doing business with you for years if you can become a problem solver. So probably 75% of those domain names you see are mine, and they're pointing to affiliate links, and I'll get a couple of bucks. But it's a great example of how affiliate programs work. So go to Google, type in your industry, dart throwing, anything, and type in dart throwing, and then after that, affiliate program. Anything in the industry. There's an affiliate program out there for everything. And sign up for it. It's, like Anita said, it's the fastest way to not only start selling a product and making money, but also you could build a whole business. I know people that are making $500,000 a year just on affiliate programs. And they don't even have websites. They just promote affiliate programs. It's pretty amazing what the capabilities are once you find what you really enjoy doing and what you're really good at. Recommenders. What kind of people are in your industry that could potentially recommend your product to other people? Make a list. You're going to need that list a little later. If you're just starting out, not quite yet, but you'll need that list. But the ultimate goal is right here. JV partners, joint venturing. It is what the web has built its foundation on. Being able to go to someone that has lots of people that trust them and working out a deal where you offer to allow them to promote your product. And this isn't just an affiliate stuff. Anybody in here written a book? Self-published. Self-publish a book. Anybody have books in your garage? Or do you have it all outsourced? Okay. I brought this up at a workshop one time where a woman had 1,000 books in her garage. And I said, great, what would happen if you sold all of those tomorrow? And she choked. She said, I can't handle that. It would be too much. I'd have to spend my whole time putting together packages, and it would take me 3 weeks to get them all out the door. Unless I hired somebody, and I don't have enough money to hire somebody to take care of all these books for me. Well, that's my point, is that's what joint venturing does. You get a big enough fish out there that's willing to represent your product. You could have 1,000 orders in a day, or a week, or 10,000, or 20,000, or 50,000 orders in a month. But it's part of the process. You don't want to do that right out of the gate. Mark Victor Hansen gets 150 requests for joint ventures every day. Why would he pick you to do a joint venture with? Mark Victor Hansen is the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, right? He's got like 1 million people on his email list. Imagine if an email went out to his whole list promoting your product. That's a joint venture. And you'd probably be willing to give him 50% or 75% of your sale, right? Because that's how joint ventures operate. You need to be willing to give that kind of payment to a joint venture host. But joint venturing should always be in the forefront of your mind, because that's the ultimate goal with the web, if you have a product or a service. More about joint venturing later. Communication methods. You need to establish how you're going to talk to people. You need to come up with a way. Here's an affiliate link, bestemailsystem.com, a domain name that I registered, and it's pointing to an affiliate link for Constant Contact. Constant Contact is one of my favorite email systems out there. Costs anywhere between $20 and $50 a month, up to 5,000 people on your list. And it's a pretty good system. I'd suggest that you make a free report, because people just don't sign up for newsletters anymore. You have to give them something of real value. Real value. What's really hot right now is audio and video. I think that's really taking over the web. So on the HereNextYear website, I kind of went bonkers on free reports, and I created white papers instead. So I have a bunch of different white papers that people can download for free, and they get on onto my list as a result. And once they do that, they're in the system, but I'm going to replace all those. I'm going to replace them with audio and video, especially video. So if you don't know how to take a video and put it into your computer or hand it off to somebody, if you don't have that connection for video, I'd suggest starting to look now, because really video is taking over the web. The big seminar that I brought up before, the last 2 that I've gone to, they don't even talk about getting your website on top of Google anymore. They don't even bring it up. The whole weekend was about video. That's where things are going. So, make a free report about something that's topical in your industry. One of my favorites is Myths of Internet Millionaires. It's a white paper. It's related to my industry, right? It's one of my highest downloaded white papers. Another one is getting better search engine rankings. Everybody wants to know, how do I get on top of Google? Great, there's a white paper. It's free.
Weekly articles, you can announce those in your email. Sign up on every page. You need to have a sign up box for people to get on your list on every page of your website. Every page. Marlon Sanders is famous for saying that he can tell exactly how much someone makes on the internet by the size of their list. The list, meaning how many people have opted in to your newsletter so that you can promote to them later and share information. It's not all about promoting to people. It's about sharing information, building that trust. But can you imagine that? A direct relationship. Mark Victor Hansen, 1 million subscribers. Fill in the blank, 10 subscribers, 20 subscribers, 50 subscribers. There is a link there. Always have a focus on building that list and a sign up on every page. HTML versus text. Here is what people are doing right now. Use text to tell, HTML to sell. I have 2 kinds of newsletters that I send out. I have one that's called the Tuesday Triplet. Every Tuesday, not every Tuesday. It just doesn't, I'm not that devoted to time schedules, so I call it the Tuesday Triplet, but I might miss a week. It always goes out in text because that's my information that I'm sending out to people. It's purely educational content. I might recommend an affiliate link, but most of the time, it's always just text. But when I promote a new product, when I promote one of my own workshops, when I promote anything that I'm doing with someone else as a joint venture, it goes out as an HTML email because HTML sells. And then my list sees that comparison like, oh, Marty's selling something again, but I'm not going to get off the list because I know he's sending content next week too. The rule of thumb is for every 3 or 4 emails that you send out to your list, that's about when you want to make a recommendation for someone to buy something. If you pummel your list with things that they need to buy every single time, here's a special offer, here's a special offer, they're just going to stop reading what you're sending. So that you need to have that correlation to how many times you send out something versus how many times you make an offer. And that's why monthly newsletters don't work. You need to be sending out to your list once a week, maybe even twice a week, maybe 3 times a week. And if you can give them good enough content, they'll stay on your list. Free reports, white papers, blogs. Blogs we need to cover. I'm going to cover blogs a little bit later. Just know that that's part of the system here. And forums. I think everybody that has a website should have 2 forums that you participate in on a weekly basis. Now, a forum is a place where you go on the web. Again, you can just type in your industry. In my case, one of my favorite forums out there is a place called SitePoint. SitePoint. And it's a hangout for designers, programmers, promoters, internet marketers. Huge, huge forum. Lots of traffic. You can post something out there about something you're interested in, and by morning, you'll have 25 responses to your question. Every time I make a post, I have about 400 posts on SitePoint. And every time I make a post, I have a signature line at the bottom that has a link to HereNextYear, a link to Capital Factor, a link to something else. But every time I change those links, it updates all the postings I have through the whole forum website. I get no less than 5 emails a week from people directly from SitePoint wanting to know if I'm taking on clients that I can help with, if they just have a question about something I was talking about, or just to talk. People on forums want communication, so it's important for you to tap into that industry. Online press releases, the industry seems to be a little bit down on online press releases right now. And this is coming from the conferences that I go to. It used to be a big thing to hook up with a place called prweb.com, and for a couple $100 you could get your press release sent out to hundreds and hundreds of promotional outlets. But there's something just not quite right with online press releases right now. We've been having a better turnaround, meaning how many times you get posted on other people's websites, mentioned in newspapers, articles, all that kind of stuff. We've been having a better turnaround by making our own database of promotional outlets. So they came up with all these automated tools like PR Web, but the tendency that I'm seeing, and I'm hearing this a lot, is to focus, if you're going to do press releases as an outlet, start building your own list of places to promote to. Podcasts and videocasts. What I want to cover about podcasts and videocasts is that these two, podcasts and videocasts and blogs, I should have put them right on top of each other because they are practically united. People are putting their audio files and video files in the blog postings. And then there are tools on the back end of that blog that syndicate all those audio files and video files to directories for further distribution, and they're all over the place. There's a whole process to blogs, and one of the, I think you have a domain name in here that I just registered. This is all very new. But I was looking around for a blog checklist. People don't want 500-page books and 25 set CDs anymore. Just give me the checklist. What do I have to do? Just let me go down the list. So I made one for blogs for one of my clients, and they loved it. So I developed a little bit more, and now it's available at that location. But the idea is that podcasts and videocasts are taking over blog postings. They really are. And the whole syndication process is where you can very quickly get your information about your product launch out to a lot of people. Hold questions till the end, and I'll come back. I will make sure to leave enough time. Okay, so radio. We have a celebrity in the room, Joe Saba, who is the claim to fame way to get on radio all across the country. If you want to promote your business on radio, talk to him. There's a link in there to go to his website for you. And let's see, teleseminars and webinars are two in the same. I believe they kind of go together. I have a link in there for you for holding a webinar. Here's an interesting question. How many of you have participated in a webinar? Now look around, everybody. Hands up. About 90%. Is that about right? Here's question number 2. How many of you have ever conducted a webinar? Now look around. Everybody look around at this. Do you see the opportunity with webinars? A webinar is really nothing more than taking something like a PowerPoint presentation and putting it on the web, and then leading a conversation by phone and walking people through your presentation. Almost everybody is familiar with webinars. But there's a lot of opportunity out there because not as many people get involved with conducting them. With teleseminars, it seems like everybody under the sun is doing a teleseminar. I get at least 25 emails a week from some upcoming teleseminar that people are promoting. How do you know what to sit in on? Where am I going to spend my time? But the great thing about teleseminars and webinars is it is the fastest and easiest way to make a product. We're making a product right now. Got a microphone right here, got a video camera. Don't even need to be that complex about it. You can go to Radio Shack. I brought this with me. I didn't know we were videotaping, but I was going to make a product today. Little digital recorder, about 35 bucks. Little clip-on microphone. Anytime you get in front of people, wear a microphone. Get a recording. You bring it into your computer. It's an MP3 file. A little bit of editing software. It's a little bit more complex than that once you get involved with it. But that's how it works. Within an afternoon, you can have a product. You can have a series of products. You can have a whole product line. You put all these on your website. You can make a membership website. And everything you record, everything you videotape, everything in audio, everything you do as an ebook, you can convert into a membership website. Membership websites are really huge. 2 internet marketing, big conferences in a row. I'm talking about membership websites. That's where things are going on the web. There's a product out there called A Member. Letter A, member. This isn't in your notes. You gotta write this one down. amember.com. It's a product for about $140. And what it enables you to do is it's a component to helping turn your website into a membership website. You need a couple other pieces. If you're really interested in putting a membership website together, send an email to me, give me a call, we'll talk about the process. To give you an idea, we have one client we're putting together a membership site for right now that is a combination of a WordPress blog, a member, one shopping cart to take the actual orders, and AuthorizeNet. AuthorizeNet is the gateway to put the money into your bank account. So there's 4 components and about 10 plugins, which are little programs added in. They all have to work together. So it comes back to what Anita was saying about capabilities. What are your capabilities? Think, oh, I want a membership website now. Marty brought up membership websites. Well, there's a lot to it. So I'm setting the stage that there is a way to use a lot of time, put a lot of energy into something on the web, and it doesn't even work. It's part of the process. We're converting everything on the HereNextYear site to a membership-based website. It's happening this month. But it took us, I've been in business for almost 13 years. It took me that long to make HereNextYear a membership website. So it's all part of the process. Trade shows, seminars, workshops. Joe and I did a joint venture a couple of years ago. We did about 14 or 15 workshops together where he promoted to his list that Marty was going to come do a 3-hour workshop on internet strategy. It was a great way for me to build my business. I had a book I was selling at that time, so I sold the book to the audience. It was great. Trade shows and seminars and workshops are such a great way to build your business. And has anybody ever heard of Toastmasters before? Okay, that's a great place to start. If you're afraid of promoting your business in front of a group of people, just join Toastmasters. You'll thank me later. And talk to Anita, talk to me. We were both Toastmasters members. At least I was for 10 years anyway. So I'm going to introduce you to something new. I have been experimenting with another way of communication because we always hear about conversion rates and getting phone calls and getting emails and opt into the list and all these ways of communicating with people in email. Well, I've come across online chat. And this isn't in your notes. You'll have to write this down. You mostly see online chat when you go for support help to a software company, because software companies don't want to talk to you anymore. So they did the next best thing. They put online chat on, and occasionally you'll get 2 hours of the day, you'll have a support person there from Russia or something that doesn't speak English. But the idea is very, very sound. I have 2 accounts for an online chat system. One of them is on the HereNextYear site, and it has a username, Paul, which is my middle name. And the reason I used the username Paul is because it can be me answering the chats, it can be Katrina answering the chats, someone that works with me, it can be Tom, it can be a number of people. So I just picked one person, and whoever's on first on their computer, the chat pops up when somebody has a question. So there's focus number 1. When somebody has a question on my website, they see this little button and they can pop up a window and start talking with me. So that, I put in here, how do I start a website? So then the next screen comes up on my computer and it starts ringing. It sounds like a phone. And I see John and I click accept the call. And so here I am talking to him. You have to pay somebody a whole bunch of money. Yeah, that's right. But here is, now actually when I was doing this last night, someone else was on my website looking at one of the pages where I have this chat. So who was on there last night? Anyway, so this is the person I was talking to. And the reason I wanted to show this is the most cool thing I've discovered about online chat. This. See this? You can see it better on this one than up here. That is the word call. So I can watch someone hit my website, go through the pages of my website, and then after they've been through 3 or 4 pages or so, I'll send a little note out to them and say, hey, just checking, do you have any questions? And it'll pop up on screen, and I'll start dialoguing with the visitor. Now, you'd think at first, gosh, if I went to a website and somebody started talking to me, I'm out of there. but I've got about a 95% rate of people talking to me. So I don't think that initial thought is accurate. I thought the same thing. And every single time, 100% of the time that I've engaged in conversation with someone through my online chat, it's turned into a sale of something. I've only had this on for about a month and a half. And I don't take all the calls. But every time that I've been on chat, I've always converted the sale. Because people aren't really sure what they need. And if you can guide them and ask them the right questions, you can convert them into a sale. Because what do people want when they get to a website? They want a result. They got a problem. Fix my problem. What do I have to do? If you can prove to them that you'll fix their problem, you are there. So, related search phrases. Here we go again. Anybody here have Word Tracker? Yeah, a couple. That's a little test question. Word Tracker is a great resource that's similar to KeywordDiscoverySecrets.com. Both of those are affiliate links again, affiliate domain names. So if you sign up for those, yeah, I'm going to get a little piece. Just again, an example of how affiliate programs work. But with Word Tracker, you can go into the system and find out what people are searching for. It's only a matter of time when you start launching your website talking about a product that you do want to be visible on search engines. And the key to it is to find out where the traffic is. I mean, if you want to get hit by a car, it's a lot easier to go out in the street, right? It's where the traffic is. So find out what people are searching for related to your traffic first. And then build your content pages, then build your site, then build the individual pages, then make your blog posts to attract people that are visiting, that are searching for those keyword phrases. So Word Tracker is the product. SpyFu is an interesting little program too, because and you can check out SpyFu for free. Plug in your competitor information, their domain name, and it'll tell you how much your competition is spending, like on Google AdWords, pay-per-click campaigns, things like that. So a great little resource. Now these guys, they only update their database about every 4 or 5 months. So it's not like you're getting yesterday's information. But I found it to be surprisingly accurate. So check out SpyFu when you want to see what your competition's doing. Choosing domain names. How many people in here have own more than 50 domain names? 1, 2, 3, 4. Anybody? I didn't even start at 5 or 10. I mean, what's the point? It's such a common thing to own. I talked to a guy on the phone 2 weeks ago. He owns 4,200 domain names. That's his business, registering domain names and then picking up traffic based on domain names. So don't ever think that you're only going to register one domain name. Look for a keyword, one keyword that you can use in a domain name. If that's available, go for a keyword phrase. Wow, that's the best thing you can do. And focus on multiple domain names. There's a whole strategy to domain names. And after all this that we've been through so far, you're going to have a very dreadful meeting with your designer. And he's already thinking, gosh, Marty, what are you telling these people to do? It's going to be a long Monday. But that's how this works. I mean, you're going to walk into your designer and you're going to kind of feel like this. Because your designer is going to say, what, you want to do all this stuff? You're going to have to write me a check for $100,000 right now, because it's going to take that much. So we need to put this into more of a plan. You need to get involved with your own website. You need to be able to edit your own website. You don't want to pay your designers. Most of the designers that I know hate making edits to websites. They love to do the design, they love to put pages together, but if you call in and say you just fired one of your staff people and can you take out that paragraph of text, they're going to say, oh my gosh, because they just don't want to do it. So you need to take advantage of that and find out how to make changes. I'll go into a little bit more about that. I've been using this example for a long time, and for good reason. This is a website that these guys made their They made their website. This is not one of my clients. It's just a really good example. They started out their website and it just tanked. They spent so much money on their website, all the products, thousands and thousands of products, and they never made a sale. And they couldn't figure out why. And then they discovered that if they put their phone number in what we call the upper right quadrant and a keyword search, because some people didn't want to pick up the phone and call, they just wanted to search for an item, and a contact us button in case they do want to call. If they just put those three things up there, their sales would increase. And they increased a lot. They increased to $4 million. So layout is very crucial, and making use of that upper right quadrant is very important too. So then we discovered that people start there and they migrate across the top. And across the top, they're really looking for something to do. So in websites that we create, if the person has an event that they have registration for, we always have register for the event right up on top, because that's where people want to take action. Sign up for the newsletter. And then down here on the left is what we call the safe zone. This is where you put all your articles, your educational content, the real soft sell stuff. Because after people are done thinking if they want to take action or not, they're going to come down here. And then they're going to move across. Okay. Pages and layout. Very critical piece of all this. One shopping cart is really a good system to get started with if you want to take your own credit cards, use your own merchant account, take your own credit cards. If you want to use your own merchant account and really make something of selling on the web, you're going to have to get your own merchant account eventually. One shopping cart is a good one to start with. Ranges from $20 to $100 a month. Joomla and Drupal, these are what are called content management systems, CMS for short, if you ever hear the acronym. They're pretty tough to use. Somebody starting out of the gate, it's a software product, and you have to have somebody set them up for you. That's probably why WordPress has become so popular, because it's so easy. It's so easy to log in and make changes. It looks just like Microsoft Word. And that also gave us the idea for this, Action Website Editor. In about 3 days, we're going to have a product launch. And it's going to be for a product that we created. And it's something that gets installed on the top of your website. So the designer, we're actually partnering with design companies with us, joint ventures, remember? Where a designer can design a website however they want. Doesn't matter. You don't have to be in a restricted format. Just install the website, and then on top of that, we install Action Website Editor. So it looks something like this. Here's your website, your page. Here are all the directories and files of your website. Just looks just like a regular, if you open up your files and folders, nothing new there. And then when you click on the edit button, here's the content of your website. So you can go in, Microsoft Word looking formats, right? We've got a little globe up here for adding links to other websites, links to other pages. We've got little styles here. So if you're into CSS programming, you just pull down the style, and that's how you pick your fonts. And what else do we have? The ability to add images right here. Little mountain, you just click on that and you add a photo. I mean, those are really the most important things that a business owner would need to edit. So little pop-up windows. I mean, that's what people are really looking for when they want to edit their website. So we've actually put it together. And you can do the same thing, really. I mean, you wind up finding little tools that people need in your industry, and you supply them to them. Content, writing promotional sales copy, a whole class in itself. Tom, you could have a whole morning full of writing content for websites. It's the most aggravating, exciting, frustrating thing in the world, is creating promotional content. One of the tools that we switched servers, so that's not actually active right now, Action Headline Creator. You answer a couple of questions and it spews out 300 different headlines. It's one of the hardest things to come up with when copywriting, but we've created a tool. So what kind of tools? What kind of tools can you have for people in your industry? Have a review committee. She already covered that. Covered search. Some new things with Google. get a few inbound links per week instead of trying to go out and get 200 inbound links. These are links that are on other people's websites. Other people's websites pointing to yours. It used to be that we'd go out and say, all right, we're going to get 500 links all on these other websites and point them all to ours because Google likes to know that you're popular, so you get better positioning. But it doesn't happen, not if you try to get too many links. Just kind of going through a couple of these. Video is definitely going to, if it hasn't already started impacting positions. Google's Sitemap. When you get a website, tell your designer, don't try to figure this all out on yourself. Go to your designer and say, I need a Google Sitemap set up for my website. That's all you need to say. Don't say sitemap, a Google sitemap. And that is your direct contact between your website and Google to let Google know that you've added another page, you've made changes to your pages. I mean, I've seen websites fluctuate up and down within 2 days because they have a Google sitemap on those positions. So you can kind of see how you start off simple and things get a little bit more complex. Local search is in. If you have a local business, there are all kinds of strategies involved with Google and making sure that your site comes up. Show the address, your physical address on your website, include a phone number and a map, links from local sites. These are all things that will help boost your positioning in Google. I always like to throw a little bit of that in anyway, even though they're not talking about that at big seminars anymore. Get business in the Google Maps. You have to actually add your business to the Google Maps section. So then when people search for it, you get a listing, and then it shows the whole map and get directions and all that stuff. And even a little picture that I put in one of my workshops. So a real important component. AdWords, yeah, we need to cover a lot of the AdWords stuff. I don't need to get into that too much, although I will say that you will. There's a link in your handout for best AdWord book, I think it is, something like that.
AdWordGoogle.com?
No. There's another one. bestadwordbook.com. Circle that one for me. It's a $50 ebook written by Perry Marshall, and really, anything you need to know to get started about AdWords is in that book.
Page 7.
It's page 7. It's probably the best $50 that you would spend before you lose your shirt on Google AdWords. So do not attempt to go Google AdWord route alone. Make sure to get education on that. Master AdWords first, but see how this is a process? This is way into the game before I'm even bringing up AdWords. Aim for the sweet spot. The sweet spot on Google AdWords we found is not to be on top. You don't want the top listing on Google. Everybody clicks in that one. You want maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there. That's the sweet spot. So aim for that. Get specific. Local search is in. And I've got to cover it. No more Blogger. Use WordPress. It's a free blogging software. It's what Dave Taylor. I thought maybe Dave Taylor would be here today, so I actually have a couple of slides of his site too. Optimize every entry, and the reason I say that is that we have AskDaveTaylor.com, and when you click on one of his postings, it'll take you to another page that is specific to that post. It shows the entire post. And up here, up in that address window, is the URL. Now see how he had the topic. How do you find people through LinkedIn, right? Well, the URL is exactly the same as that. That's a component that Google's looking for. Why is he getting, what did you say, 200, 400, 8,000, 100,000 a year, whatever? It's because he has all these pages that are all listed on Google. If you type for a specific phrase, it's going to bring up one of those individual pages. And that's one of the keys. See, right there on Google, top of the list. So of course we have ways to syndicate all those blog posts. And it's another example of how social networking can play into this. How many of you have heard the term social networking lately? Everybody look around. Raise your hands again. Isn't that amazing? How many people? 2 years ago, if you were to say social networking, people would say, what? What is that? Well, it's become a very important way to promote your website and your product. So you need to just kind of go through those little links that I have on there as those little checklist pieces, and go to some of these social networking areas and create an account and start playing around with how you could promote your own website. These are all links back to your website. One of my favorites is Squidoo and Craigslist. Craigslist is free. And notice that I've put these in a checklist for you so that they're ranked by how much things cost, how fast you can implement these. You can do most of these yourself. Everybody should have a Craigslist posting for their business or their product. It's free. So what's the point? Well, you need to build a virtual sales force. The point is that you need to have other people doing this work for you. You need to create the foundation for your site, your product. But the real money on the web is going to come from people selling your products and services for you. And that is through eventually creating your own affiliate program. And this is what people are looking for. Affiliates are looking for how much visitation you get, sales conversion rate, out of 100 people, how many actually buy your product. Got to have that. Refunds, how many people refund what they buy from you. Marketing pieces and support, what are you going to offer all these? This is all part of the strategy of doing business online. That's one of those components, and you start to see that you can't do it all yourself. You can't. You'll go out of your mind. It'll take you 10 years or maybe even 13. You have to establish a track record. After you've, boy, I kind of missed a little section in my PowerPoint here that didn't come over, but that's all right. After you establish an affiliate program and it's working, then you can start talking about joint venturing. Once you have a really hot product, then you can find people with lists, big lists, and say, here, let's partner together and let's together sell my product, sell my service that I offer. But you darn well better have a really good track record. You better have a contract. Don't try to go for 10 joint venture partners at a time. Oh my gosh, I had one client try to do that. It all depends on your speed to market, your ability to implement and actually stay alive. I mean, just one at a time is plenty. Build a separate site. You might wind up building a whole complete separate site for your joint venture partners. You're going to have to produce detailed reports, and you're going to have to make it easy. Coming back to the Joe Saba example, when we promoted our workshops, I would write everything that would go out to his list. But it would be from him. I got to know Joe, I got to learn how he talks and how he presents things. So I would write the email notices about the workshops in his language. And all you'd have to do is copy and paste and send it. The shopping cart was all set up for him, everything was done. So you got to make it easy for your joint venture partners. So in summary of this, you can just go step by step through this checklist. You can calculate your traffic. I like to use the word fishing for traffic in multiple streams. I gave you a list of 101 ways to get traffic to a website there. 101 ways. Don't think that Google is just one. Use the success of others. Doing business on the web is a lot like a good blues song. It's already been done already. It's just da-na-na-na-na-na. It's the same thing. We're just moving things around. You have to make your own blues song, sort of. Be involved in the design process. You have to be in control and help your clients too. I see that I'm out of time. If they'll let me have some questions, we'd have to do that now, but real quick. Just a couple of questions. I'll hang out after. I'm not going anywhere, so you can come up to me afterwards.